I mean, this is a wet, fluffy snow. This is the type of snow that is very packable. I think it's perfect snowman snow. I will say so far, snow accumulations about 1 to 2 inches for the maximum. That means all of the snowmen we've been seeing, they're little snow people, but so far, they're really cute. This is a snowman sent in from Houston. You can see probably about a 4-inch snowman. I think as we go through the day, our snow people are going to keep getting even bigger. As for what we've been seeing across the area, snow further towards the north, I want to show you radar accumulations of how much snowfall we have seen, because some of these numbers actually have been pretty impressive. Here in the Houston area, still only showing about ½ an inch to an inch. But if you look up towards Beaumont, we're seeing 2 inches, up towards Conroe, ½ an inch. So really anywhere from 1 to 2 inches. That's the snowfall, but we can also track how much ice has been coming down. Now, most of that ice, the slush, the sleet, is going to freeze onto the roads. But as for how much we've seen, accumulations, for the most part, we're talking about 1/10 of an inch. That's what we would consider a glaze. It can be hazardous walking on pavement, but thankfully it's not heavy enough to bring down tree branches. The concern is if we start to see higher ice accumulations, that could cause some major issues when it comes to tree branches, but I think all of this is going to switch over to snow, and that's going to make the scenario significantly better. Before we toss things over to Brittany here, I do want to show you very quickly, we've been talking about temperatures. Here in the Houston area, we're in the mid to upper 20s, around freezing in Galveston. But if we flip this over to wind chill, right now it feels like the teens out there. Certainly not going to make it any better if you have any problems on the roads. In fact, Brittany, those roads have been so messy outside. What have you been seeing?
Absolutely. I mean, the theme of the next several hours is going to be hunker down. We've got heavy downpour ongoing, conditions only going to be deteriorating as we continue to go over the next 4 to 6 hours. So right now, the most immediate threat, of course, is going to be those damaging winds, but also this tornado warning. We said this earlier today. We're going to keep repeating it because it's 5 a.m. in the morning. We likely have folks just joining us. When it comes to tropical systems, hurricanes, tropical storms, there's a lot of inherent rotation in those outer bands. That means we expect to see more tornado warnings. We have a tornado watch until 10 a.m. this morning that will likely be extended. So if you go underneath a tornado warning, you need to head to the interior room, lowest level, as many walls between yourself and the outside as possible. You don't want any windows nearby. For most homes, that's going to be an interior laundry room, pantry, or closet. Now, if you're in an apartment building, still going to be the lowest floor interior. Oftentimes that can be a parking garage. You just want to make sure there's enough room for you, your family, and your pets. So if you're thinking we don't have an interior closet that's clean enough, I would always recommend just clearing it out. In that case, if there is a tornado warning, you have a place to go immediately. But right now, that tornado warned area does include the Highland Heights just to the north of the Hudson Heights, continuing to push its way through extremely quick. These tornado warnings, they get issued and then they quickly drop them. But movement on these storms, that's been to the west at 45 to 50 miles per hour. So strong, quick moving system. And that's going to be the trend now through the rest of the day today. Hunker down. We cannot say that enough. You'll notice heavy downpours from Houston, Pasadena, Pearland, Clear Lake, all of these locations already underneath a flood warning because we've seen 4 to 6 inches of rainfall, an additional 1 to 3, quite frankly, anywhere between 5 to 10 inches of rain, up to 13 inches of rain, certainly going to be possible. Now, I do want to show you where we likely have our strongest wind gusts. That's going to be around the eye of the hurricane. Thankfully, now that it has pushed on shore, we will see it starting to dissipate. But right now, that eye wall trying to go through a replacement cycle, even though we've already gone on onto land. So Bay City likely seeing very intense winds, that back wall of the eye currently pushing its way on shore. So when we were checking on Gage and he had that calm is going to be ending incredibly soon as that pushes its way on shore. But the good news is once it's on shore, things can start to get better. That's because we're looking at the clean side of the hurricane. So this is what we're talking about when we say dirty side, clean side. When you look at a hurricane, you're going to look at quadrants here. A big factor in this is the way that hurricanes rotate. They rotate counterclockwise. So on the left side, you're going to be seeing dry air that's been pushing over land. That means we're not seeing as much rainfall here, not as much storm surge, not as much tornado potential. Now on the right side, the dirty side, this is where most of our viewing area is. This is where you're getting air coming up from the Gulf. It is moist, it is humid, it is ripe for these storms to have that quick spin up. It's also bringing with it the most tropical moisture, which is why if you take a zoom out, you'll notice areas on the dirty side, this is where we have all of our warning on the right side of this system. So we're going to keep tracking as it likely brings more flood warnings, more tornado warnings. A closer look. If we zoom in, that tornado warning still in place to the south of Bush. And by the way, Bush Airport about to get some really heavy downpours pushing its way in. Keep in mind, if you haven't seen them yet, if your area is further towards the north, we're talking Cypress, Spring, Woodlands, Tomball, Conroe. You're not in the clear. You have a heavy rain band pushing in your direction. We cannot urge you enough. Stay home. These are producing gusty winds over towards Hobby Airport. We were seeing consistent wind gusts up to 50 miles per hour. That is no joke. That will damage trees. That can quickly create projectiles as well. So right now on radar, you can see heavy downpours pushing their way on shore. And another thing to note with these rain bands, they're creating a fetch, meaning with them, we've got winds pushing on shore, waves out here in the Gulf around 10 to 13 feet. So a big pile of water being pushed onto the shore. That's what we call our storm surge. And that's what we can be expecting to see, unfortunately, really picking up over the next 2 hours. And over the next 2 hours, we're also going to be approaching high tide. In Galveston, we're expecting high tide to be happening around 7:33 in the morning, which means the storm surge, quite frankly, coming at the worst possible time. Now, I do quickly want to show you what it's looking like outside. Our camera is shaking here. This is our Empower Pharmacy camera. It is shaking, heavy downpours. Justin, a really good testament that it's not just rain, but really intense winds within all of these showers.
The rain really letting up this morning. It was loud. It was aggressive. This afternoon, a few sprinkles here and there. Nothing we can't handle. Temperature-wise, much more comfortable because of that cold front. So we'll be staying in the 70s. We're keeping mostly cloudy conditions, a 20% chance of showers. But that's really it. I want to switch gears and talk more about the tropics because I think this is something a lot of folks are going to be interested in. Tropical storm Rafael. This has winds of 60 miles per hour and it's continuing to strengthen. Right now it's over very warm Caribbean waters, not a lot of wind shear. And because of this, we are expecting it to strengthen into a hurricane. This will be the first November hurricane in the Gulf since 1985. Typically we see these curve out into the open Atlantic. So here's what to expect. And I want to show you, models are confident. Whenever you see the lines close together, this means there is a strong consensus. By Friday, Rafael is going to be a hurricane moving into the far eastern Gulf of Mexico. At this point, it's going to interact with a cold front. That cold front is going to do one of two things. One option that's looking very probable is that it's going to steer Rafael up into the southeast. That means it could be a problem for the Florida Panhandle, or we could see this cold front steer that system down to the south. Those are the two options. So because of this, it does look like we're in the cone. And I'll tell you what, though, I think where it could make landfall is going to be either anywhere on the southeast coast if it turns more east, or I think that cold front takes it all the way to Mexico or deep in the Texas Valley. So here in southeast Texas, I think we're in the clear. History is on our side. The latest we have ever seen a tropical system impact southeast Texas was mid-October. It's just those cold fronts act as our barriers, really our protective wall. Hey, speaking of protective wall, we've got a nice deck of cloud cover overhead today. That's going to be keeping us a bit cooler, and also that rainfall. This morning, we saw quite a bit of heavy downpours roll through the area, and over the last 2 days, we saw much more rainfall than we saw for the entire month of October. Right now, we are still tracking a few of those light rain showers you can see from Chambers County into Liberty County, also far coastal Matagorda County. If you're waiting in line at the polls, a few scattered showers are possible. But other than that, fairly comfortable temperatures right now in the 60s to the mid 70s. You'll notice that extended forecast keeping rain chances with us as we go through Saturday. But once we get towards the beginning of next week, we're actually going to be drying out. Temperatures warming back to the lower 80s. I'm just happy that we dried out for the second half of Election Day.